So joining me today is Heather Wilde. She is CTO and Unicorn Whisperer at ROCeteer, and she is speaking at Impact 2020. So Heather, welcome. I'm excited to have you here.
Great to be here.
So first of all, I was wondering if you could kind of tell me how you got into technology and product development.
So, great question. I got into technology early on because I had a really supportive family. My father would take me to flea markets on the weekends where I would buy all sorts of spare parts and transistors and things like that. And he gave me my first computer when I was 8 years old and encouraged me to go nuts and do whatever I wanted. And so I actually started developing products from that early age just by seeing like broken coffee makers and things like that and taking them apart and figuring out what new things I could make. And then that continued until I was like through the time I was in college, I actually designed my first video game, which got me hired as a video game designer. And and that was actually very important to understand customer experience and customer engagement and user experience and interfaces and in how people really will use a product or not use a product after you've designed it. In some cases, we've spent a lot of money and a lot of years in development just to find games go right into the bargain bin. So yeah, that's how I got into tech, with encouragement and a lot of experimentation.
The first video game that you designed?
My first video game that I ever designed was actually back in the day. We had things called multi-user dungeons or MUDs, and these were on you had to dial up and find them on hidden nodes on the internet. Somebody would run them on their own computer on a dial-up modem. And I wrote a multi-user galaxy, like a space-based one, which was basically like you wrote a book and then allowed people to live in your book online. So it was pretty cool. So I wrote a space adventure, a text-based thing that people could play around in a multiplayer environment.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
So in your current role, you are a CTO and Unicorn Whisperer. So what exactly does a Unicorn Whisperer do?
Yeah, it's one of those fluffy titles that people hear and they're like, I don't know what that is. Well, so in Silicon Valley, vernacular, unicorn means two things. One, it means $1 billion company, and two, it means a rare hire. So that employee that's super special that you're always going after. So when we were coming up with the type of thing that I'm really good at, it's helping companies to achieve their unicorn growth and helping people to find out what makes them that unicorn employee. So that's exactly what I do. I'm someone that can look at a company and break it down to the essence of what's their unicorn idea, and look at a person and find what their unicorn value is.
Awesome. And I know you're very active in your local community and you're a frequent volunteer. Are there any particular causes that you support or particularly passionate about?
Absolutely. My main cause that I care about, and I actually have a nonprofit that I just started about this. It's making sure that we have a strong STEM pipeline for the future. So STEM education, especially in women, is really important. But the main goal is to ensure that we have a solid STEM pipeline for the future, because we do have an engineer shortage of all kinds right now. And as the AI dawn is coming, we're going to need a strong pipeline of data scientists, data analysts, jobs that we haven't even thought of yet, all to support the robots and automated things that are coming.
And speaking of AI, are there any either AI or other emerging technologies that you're particularly excited about or have been interested in seeing applications of?
Yeah, I've been a strong proponent of a little talked about thing called biomechatronics for a very long time. This is a when you merge human biology with technology in some ways. So an easy example of this is a pacemaker. So when we take some kind of technology and merge it with our with humanity to extend our lives, and this is becoming a really, really interesting field as the technology gets stronger. So we have all sorts of new prosthetics. We have printers, 3D printers now that are making organs. We're growing new limbs on things. So biomechatronics is something that I'm really excited about. By the time I die, I wouldn't be surprised to see the lifespan of humans be like 200 to 1,000 years.
Wow. So at the Impact Conference, you're talking about anticipatory design. What are some of the exciting use cases you're seeing for this technology, and are there any industries that you think that this will impact more than others?
So some of the really cool things about anticipatory design is that it can be applied to any industry that is collecting a lot of data. So the first uses of it are obviously going to be in retail and logistics. So we're seeing it right now. Target, for example, is using this to create personalization in their stores at the end caps, and even changing the mood lighting within the stores right away based on who's in the store at the moment. But as we get, as everyone is starting to get more and more smart home devices in their houses, that's where it's game over kind of for anticipatory design. It can be anybody's game. Like, you don't have to be a large corporation. You can be a small person like a Sonos or somebody that, with a smart speaker, and you can gather enough data because you can plug into APIs and start doing things.
Very cool. So we're going to be in Las Vegas, where you are now. What are some things we need to make sure we do outside of the conference?
So there are so many things to do in Las Vegas, and a lot of people never get off the strip, unfortunately. So one of the things that I suggest to people is to get out to Red Rock National Park and go and see that. It's absolutely beautiful. It's only about 10 minutes away without traffic from the strip. So like 20 minutes with traffic. And another thing is we have an amazing chocolate factory that's only about 10 minutes away. So if you like chocolate, go to the FLM chocolate factory and you'll get some small batch amazing chocolate. But if you want to stay right on the strip, there is a flamingo preserve at the Flamingo. So you can just walk into the Flamingo and see some rare and exotic birds completely free inside the Flamingo.
Very cool. Well, Heather, thank you so much for joining me today.
I'm glad to be here.
Thanks.